This video is about dehydrating cranberries, okay? Now there's 3 different ways of doing cranberries, and I'm going to tell you the pros and cons of each way. Okay, but the first thing I'm going to start off with is the raw cranberry. So this is, in order to do a raw cranberry, you need to chop them up, okay? So you're going to put them in your blender, turn your blender on, and this is what the raw chopped cranberries look like. So what you want to do is just put them directly on the dehydrator tray. You don't have to put any foil or anything down. They won't fall between the cracks. If you want to put your wax paper down, you can. I just never do. I've never had problems with them. Now what you want to do is you want to spread them out. And if you get a straggler that hasn't been chopped, you can take your knife and you can chop it. Okay, so. Now when you do your cranberries like this, they will take 10 to 12 hours. Okay, this is the way I prefer to do them. But there's 2 other ways that I'm going to show you how to dehydrate your cranberries. So after 10 to 12 hours later, when your raw chopped cranberries are dehydrated, this is what they look like. They're nice and dry, and this is the fastest way to dehydrate your cranberries. The other way is to cook them first. Now, the reason why you're just going to blanch them. And the reason you're going to do this is you're going to make them crack. So when they crack, then they'll dehydrate better. So I'm going to just put half a bag in right now. And I'm going to put some water in that pot. And I'm going to go over the stove and I'm going to boil them. But you got to stand there and watch them boil because they crack really quickly. And after they're all done cracking, that's when you're going to put them on the tray. This is what they look like after they've been cooked for just a few minutes. And if you'll notice, you can actually hear them pop when they crack. It sounds like popcorn. So you notice each one of them has a crack on them. Now this is if you want to dehydrate whole cranberries. And this is how you would do it. Now, there's another way to do it also. That way is to simply take these cranberries that you just cooked and place them in the freezer, and then when they're frozen, then dehydrate them. Now I've done it both ways, and I find that that's just a waste of time. I think that the easiest way to do it, if you're going to do whole cranberries, is to put them in the pot until they crack, and then after they all crack, put them on your dehydrator tray and put them in the dehydrator. But it's going to take 24 hours for these to dehydrate, whereas these ones here only take 10 to 12 hours. Now I'm going to show you what these look like after they're done. They're going to be completely dry all the way through. They're going to be crispy. They're not going to be like a grape or, like a raisin. They're going to be very hard and crispy all the way through. You're going to crumble them just like that. And then you know they're completely dehydrated all the way through and ready to store away. Okay, now there's another thing that you can do with cranberries. You can buy craisins, and you can take your dried craisins and you can dehydrate them. Now, like I said before, there's a difference between dehydrated food and dried foods. So what you're going to do when you take your craisins and you dehydrate them is you're going to put them on the tray and you're going to pull more moisture out of them. And by doing that, the shelf life will be longer. They'll be a lot harder, but you can still cook with them, and you can make cranberry sauce with them or anything that you want, muffins or even snack on them, but they'll be a lot drier and a lot harder, and when you drop them on the table, you'll hear them clicking. And when you squeeze them together, they won't stick like this. You see how the dried fruit, you squeeze it together and it'll stay like that? Well, when you dehydrate your dried fruit and you squeeze it together, it'll still fall apart. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to rehydrate your chopped raw cranberries and make a cranberry sauce. So first thing I'm going to do is take 1/2 cup of chopped, dried, raw cranberries. I'm going to put them in a pot. Now I'm going to add 1.5 cups of water. Now I'm going to add 3/4 cup sugar. I'm going to put it on the stove and I'm going to cook it until it's thick. Another thing that you can do is you can make a cranberry muffin or cranberry bread. Now you can either take the quick bread recipe that I have on my site, or you can go to Cisco and buy these big boxes of restaurant style muffin and bread mix, and all you do is add water. But what you want to do is you want to take these large boxes and you want to reduce it to a more individual size for your family, and add on there how much water you would put in it. With this one here, there's 4 cups of muffin mix in here, and I would add 1 cup of water. But then whatever I'm going to use in dried ingredients as far as my dehydrated foods, I'm going to have to add extra water for that. So I'll show you how that's done. So the first thing you want to do is obviously open the package and pour it inside your mixer. Always remove your oxygen pad, like this, and pour it in there. And with this particular recipe, as far as this muffin mix, all you have to do is add water, no eggs or oil or anything like that. So what I'm going to do, this recipe here calls for 1 cup of water. So I'm going to add the 1 cup of water in there, and I'm going to turn the blender on. Now, here I have 1/3 dried cranberries. And with this 1/3 cup, I'm going to want to put 2/3 water to rehydrate these cranberries inside there. So I'm going to put the cranberries in, and I'm going to add another 2/3 water to the mix. Now what I do is I usually put it in slowly, and I just watch it to make sure I'm not getting it too loose. Now remember, whenever you're using dehydrated fruits or vegetables in your batter, you always want your batter to be looser, okay? And this is about the consistency that you want. Because when your bread is cooking, your cranberries will be rehydrating. And then we'll put them in the bread pan. Then what you're going to do is you're going to put it in the oven at 350 and you're going to bake it until it's completely done. And I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, as you can see, our cranberry sauce is done and it's really good. We started off with 1/2 cup of dehydrated chopped cranberries that were raw, and we put them in the blender, and we cooked this down for about 30 minutes. We started off to a rolling boil, brought it down to a medium heat, and then left it on to cook down for about 30-35 minutes. And then we chilled it, and it turned out absolutely perfect. Here we have the quick bread mix that we added the cranberries to, the chopped cranberries to. And what we did was we added 1/3 cup of the raw dehydrated chopped cranberries, and we added an extra 2/3 cups of water to the mix so that the cranberries could rehydrate. Okay, so over here again we have the raw chopped dehydrated cranberries that took about 12 hours in the dehydrator. Over here we have the whole cranberries that we boiled until they cracked, and then we put them on the dehydrator tray for about 24 hours. So this is, if you want I think this is the fastest and most efficient way to do cranberries, but if you want them whole, you have to do it that way. And that's how you do cranberries. Thank you.